Hi, welcome to the second episode of Crypto Fridays with Yegor. My name is Yegor Yeremenko, and more than 2 years I'm building new products in fintech and regtech startups. This channel is dedicated to fintech and regtech products reviews. We will go through some product management topics, we will try to build some MVPs, and of course we will read some bad crypto jokes. In today's episode, we will review the tokenization project Tiamonds by Liechtenstein Crypto Exchange. We will talk about tokenization with Janina Pietrowska, the blockchain-enabled lawyer who helped many blockchain projects. We will read some bad crypto jokes. By the way, if you have one, please send me and I will read it in the next episode. The term of the day is the compliance term Know Your Transactions. Web3 is a buzzword in many news articles. Web3 technology is supported by blockchain, smart contracts, digital assets and tokens. Let's have a look at tokenization, which market is forecasted as $5 trillion in trading volume by 2030. I was thinking about the tokenization of the real-world assets and I had a brilliant idea. What if we tokenize brilliance, diamonds? Apparently, somebody has figured this out and created the Tiamonds. Tiamonds is the largest tokenized diamond marketplace created by Liechtenstein Crypto Exchange, LCX. What is their product? First of all, it's a marketplace for tokenized diamonds, which are sold as an NFT. As on a regular diamonds marketplace, on a Tiamonds marketplace you can find diamonds with a various range of colors, cuts, carats, clarity and so on. And secondly, TIA tokens, which has some utility within the Tiamonds project. TIA tokens are used for three things: reflection, rebalancing and burn. Let's have a look at the tokenization projects in general. Is there any regulations for this market? Which real-world assets can be tokenized? Let's try to find out the answers with our next guest. My guest today is Janina Pietrowska. She's a master in law of Switzerland. She's the legal advisor for IT, fintech, blockchain, Web3 in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. She's also a board member and a business mom. Hi, Janina. So you've done over a dozen of project with tokenization with a major Liechtenstein crypto exchange, LCX. My first question to you is what is actually tokenization?
To me, tokenization of, let's say, financial instruments is very similar to securitization, because you have some kind of existing assets, shares, loans, you make bonds out of them, I don't know, real estate, and you wrap it in some legal wrapper and you issue some kind of promise to investors. And it used to be on the paper. So we used to have traditional securities on paper. Then those traditional securities were transferred to centralized depositories, and they are still in these centralized depositories. And there is a new way that securities can be issued on blockchain, and they are then called security tokens. It is not a legal term, security token, it is more termed by IT community. And also you can actually tokenize pretty much everything you can put in this technical wrap of the token. Also a lot of other rights, like IP rights, can be tokenized, and they would not create and they would not be qualified as securities or financial instruments. Ownership rights can be let's say wrapped with a token. So it is a very broad term, tokenization, which includes utility tokens, which are not regulated, which includes tokenized financial instruments, which are heavily regulated, and which includes also tokenization of all other possible rights. This is what is behind the term of tokenization. The tokenization itself can be pretty much everything.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I see. For example, diamonds can be tokenized.
With tokenization of diamonds, like the LCX Tiamonds project, this is so-called ownership token. It is not really a legal term. From a legal perspective, tokens are either securities or they're not securities. So this is a non-security token. It's supposed to represent ownership rights to the specific diamond. And because a specific diamond has its specific characteristics, they're all individual, you can represent the ownership right to this diamond with a token. You can use a token to put inside the ownership rights.
I've heard about the Liechtenstein and some regulations about the tokenization. So is Liechtenstein very far ahead?
I would say in general, I mean, Switzerland has been one of the first countries which issued the ICO guidelines. Then they've also adjusted a number of laws within the so-called DLT legal framework, which was also extremely advanced. And Liechtenstein, we've been working with the whole community around a couple of years until 2020 was enforced the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act. One also has to understand that this is the same legal and let's say the same community of Crypto Valley. We are an hour and something away from Zurich and 2 hours from Zug. So these are the same people which worked on the legal framework and which are the same ecosystem and the same community. And this all has been extremely advanced compared to the rest of the world, also because there is an ecosystem of other financial institutions, most importantly, ecosystem of the banks. There are around 30 banks right now which work with crypto projects, which is extremely difficult all over the world, especially US. And because this part, let's say, of the world has been so advanced, also a lot of other European countries tried to experiment, like Estonia, Malta, Gibraltar. They've created their own national licenses, and because of all of that, we have MiCA, which will be there in 2024, which is an extremely advanced and comprehensive legal framework, which is really, really the most advanced regulatory framework in the world. We can be proud of that.
So we can say that after MiCA, it will be more safer to invest in tokens.
Absolutely, absolutely. It will be, this is called a legal certainty, which means it is clear which rules applies to both provider of services and also how the investors, how the users are protected. Of course, the regulators will try, some will higher the barriers, some will lower the barriers to make their jurisdiction more attractive for projects. But still, let's say, in general, it will be more or less harmonized, which is better for both the services providers and especially the users.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, thank you. So I know that the tokenization is a complex process and there are many steps, but what is the first step if you want to tokenize something? So what should you do as a business?
It is quite a process. So first of all, you should gather information to what kind of technical provider you are going to use, who is going to issue, to generate technically the token for you. Then, of course, the legal part is important, but I will elaborate on that. In my opinion, the most important part is not technical and legal, because technically to issue the token and legally to issue the token, there are a bunch of countries and services providers where the setup is more or less clear. It is a process, but it is more or less streamlined. The most difficult thing is actually to find investors, to find the purchases for these tokens. So I would say that the project should focus more on finding either building their own marketing team or finding proper marketing services providers and investor relation providers, placement agents in case of tokenized securities, which would help them, and budgets for all of that can differ greatly like starting from, I don't know, 30, 40, 50K to 150, 200, depending on the providers, their qualities, their appetite, and only then, of course, start with the execution.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very detailed explanation. One question that probably very interesting for those who invested in tokens. So, for example, if I have tokens for let's say diamonds or square meters, so is it possible actually to exchange them to the real square meters or to the real diamonds?
With diamonds, for sure. We have projects with tokenization of gold, and then you can, if you have enough tokens for a bar or a smaller part, then you can exchange it. Actually, the values that we hold, they are normally abstract values. Like we do not, I mean, with shares of the companies that we hold, we just have a registry in the depositories that we hold share in the company. And this is already quite abstract. So the company itself is an abstract entity, right? And on the top of it, there is an abstract value of the share. And then you put a token on the top of it. So most of the values that we hold are quite abstract. And I don't know, if you trade futures for commodities, you do not really want to have the real commodities. You want to have a value of them, which you're able to transfer pretty fast. But with tokens, there is a major issue, especially with security tokens. There is a major issue that there is no regulated secondary market. With utility tokens, it's easier. With tokens which do not qualify as securities, it is easier. You can trade them on most of the exchanges because they're not securities. But to trade security tokens, still you have to have the licenses, OTF or MTF, and then alongside with MiCA, there is a DLT pilot regime for those trading facilities. So the major issue for security tokens is right now, in my opinion, which really stops this market from developing really fast, is the regulated secondary market.
I see. Well, I hope it will be improved.
It will, for sure. It is already, I mean, the existing infrastructure for securities, it works. It just works. But because putting it on blockchain, on the one hand, has certain risks, but on the other hand, makes it more efficient, I think that we are going to see for quite a long time parallel systems, both traditional, centralized, let's say securities which are kept in centralized depositories, and securities which are kept on blockchain. And these systems are going to exist in parallel, and then maybe, well, I don't even say that the traditional systems would be exchanged by DLT technologies or by any other similar technologies. It's a little bit too early to draw conclusions because the existing system just works.
Another question: do you own any token of any kind of project?
Well, I have sometimes project tokens. I would say that my major portfolio is rather Bitcoin and Ether, traditional things. And this is again not, I mean, these are high risk. Most of the cryptos, the payment tokens, they are really high risk and they're really volatile. And most of the financial advisors, I'm not a financial advisor, this is not a financial advice, but most of the financial advisors, to have a diversified portfolio of various also project tokens and other digital assets, there are investment funds. They're available mainly to qualified investors from 50 to 200K threshold, but then they have quite a diversified portfolio, because for a retail investor to be able to assess all of the risks of the issuers is extremely difficult. It's too much information to digest, and it's too difficult. I don't even do it myself. So I would rather invest in an investment fund which has a good investment strategy and which pre-selects those projects for me than doing it myself, because this is to me, this is almost impossible to properly assess the risks related to those projects.
So for those who want to explore this topic more, can you recommend any book or good materials to read about the tokenization, maybe crypto law or something?
No, I would say there are already major, let's say, media like CoinDesk. What they produce is a quality product. They are really proper media, and information gets updated so fast. So I would rather say subscribe to major media for regulation. Also, there are like major rankings for law firms. Legal 500, Chambers, IFLR 1000. You also can find we do publications with those major rankings of law firms. And these are normally summaries which are written in plain language and which are understandable. If you think about incorporating or doing a project in a certain jurisdiction, go and read those summaries, because normally they are written in plain language and to have an overview about the regulation in a certain jurisdiction.
Thank you, Janina. Thank you for your time.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Know Your Transactions, KYT, is a process used by financial institutions to monitor and analyze clients' transactions in order to detect some criminal or suspicious activities. This is an important part of anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing compliance. KYT involves monitoring of transactions for unusual patterns or discrepancies, like the big daily volumes or big monthly volumes. Transactions on a blockchain added another dimension to this process. Now, KYT can include the blockchain scoring, which is formed with the history of previous transactions on the blockchain. In order to properly conduct KYT, the company should not only access the information about the transaction itself, but it also should access the data related to the client, because you need to get the risk score, the expected turnover, and many other information in order to evaluate the transaction and mark it as a high risk or low risk. So the KYT service provider should not only scan the transactions, but also serve as a comprehensive CRM system. Here's another. Why do Bitcoiners prefer Lambo? Because Ferrari is owned by Fiat. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe.